Thank you for watching my channel. I just want to remind you, if you need wallpaper, go to www.wallpaperboulevard.com. Tell them Spencer sent you. In fact, if you use my hashtag, Spencer Colgan is wallpaper, they'll be sure to give you a 10% off at your checkout. No matter how much you order, they have a wide selection of wallpaper. Check it out. Tell them I said hello and enjoy your discount. Welcome back to part 2 of how to hang an accent wall wallpaper for beginners. But the veterans and the skeptics are welcome as well. But the video speaks to the 20-something-year-old who's picked up wallpaper for the first time and is ambitious and wants to do it him or herself. This video is made for that person. So bear with me as I speak elementarily to such folks who desire to hang paper and who just can't find the resources online to do it. On part 1, we eliminated an orange peel texture on the wall behind me. In the video description below, you will see the link to part 1, in case you missed it. Maybe you don't need to see it, but nonetheless, it's linked below. And on part 1 of that video, you'll see the link to this video below in that video description. So now we come to hanging the paper. This is the first sheet of our 6-panel, not mural, wallpaper. We planned ahead. We have 6 sheets. Where do you hang the first sheet? If you go ahead and do it yourself and you don't think, you're going to put the first sheet right up against the wall. I'm a lefty, so I would go here, but a righty might start over there. 90% of the time, that's going to result in an error. But in this case, we're going to do that. I'm going to explain why. But disregard that for now. You're going to start in the middle normally, unless it doesn't work out. It'll always work out if you start in the middle, in theory. But it won't work out if when you get to the end, you have a sliver left over. Then it doesn't work out. In that case, you have to hang the paper so that you have substantial pieces on the wall. I know it sounds complicated, but let me explain. Once in a blue moon, you'll start in the middle. Now, the middle can be started in 2 ways. 1, I take the middle of my first sheet, or meaning my middle sheet. I take the middle of it. Can you come in close? And I put it right. See that line there? You see that line there? This is the middle of my wall. This is 118 inches divided by 2, which gives me 59 inches. That's 59 right there. And so I take the middle of my middle sheet and put it up against the middle of the wall, and then I plan. And this is what I do. I go from here to here to here. Look what I have left over on the end. Eight to 9 inches. Not bad. Scratch what I said about this wall. I was mistaken. We can start in the middle. And just so you know what I'm doing here, I put the middle of my wallpaper against the middle line. Ideally, that's what we're going to do, right? You may have faces on this thing. You want the same amount of faces on the left and on the right when you're doing an accent wall. This is talking about doing one wall. This is not the procedure to do when you wallpaper in the entire room. This consideration is only for accent walls because we don't use this when we're doing the entire room. That's a separate video. Let's test our calculation again. So the same has to be true to the right. I put the middle of my first sheet on the middle line, and then I simply use my fingers and I do this. And I'm left with the same amount of wallpaper on my right side as I have on my left. But let's say it didn't work out like that and my sheet was wider. This is 20 and a half. Let's say I had 36. And it went something like this. You're left with something like that. Ugh. You don't, if you're hanging grass cloth, you don't want to see a piece of wallpaper this big. Don't do that. You know what you would do with grass cloth? This is a side note. Cut all of your panels down to the amount that allows you to hang all of your sheets from this side to the next side, and they're completely equal in size. So you would divide the number of inches by the number of inches of wallpaper that you need to make each panel the same size. So you would trim them down so that it would look like your wallpaper fit exactly. A different video. Do you have the idea? We start in the middle because if we do, we'll have the same amount. It's called symmetry. We will have symmetry, we will achieve symmetry if we begin in the middle. At least planning wise. We don't have to start in the middle. If I know where my seams are going to end from planning in the middle by using a little pencil, then I can start here. But I started to plan in the middle, and therefore I know where my seams are going to end. But let's say that the middle didn't really work here. I don't wind up with a good amount on each side. Here's what you would do. Try this. Take your first sheet and hang it, start right to the left of the pencil mark. That's the only other way to do it. And then you would say, where do I wind up with the greatest amount of wallpaper at the end? Wow, I like that better. Look at that. You know why I like that better? Because I get more wallpaper on the end. I like it. And it's always better to have a bigger piece on each end. It's like dessert. You want a bigger piece. So when you consider where you hang your wallpaper, I know I sound like Christopher Walken. Please don't put the comment down. Oh, you know what? Put the comment down. I like it because it draws traffic to my channel. Thank you. So in that case, you certainly would start on the side of the central pencil mark. And the consideration is which installation method gives you the greater piece on the end. And then you start hanging. Okay, in video 1, we prepped the wall. We applied, I recommended to you in the end of the video, guards, G-A-R-D-Z from Zinsser. It seals the joint compound. This allows the homeowner to love me when he takes the wallpaper down, because if I didn't put it on, guess what? He would be using 4-letter words with my name after. He would replace my first name with a 4-letter word and then use my last name for my first name. You know what I mean. So we seal the wall, and now when he removes the wallpaper, guess what? It comes down easily. Now we're ready to hang. Now, pardon me, I'm going to start on the left side after having considered those issues, okay? Or I may start in the middle, depends. But those are the things. Now, I can start on the left or I can start on the right, but we plan from the middle. And now that you know how to do it, move accordingly. But keep in mind, especially you're the beginner, if you have a pattern that's going to scream out the edges, like grass cloth, or grass cloth is one, a pattern with large, let's say, you know, those air balloons. Let's say you have air balloons, big ones on the wall. Let's just say, you don't want a big air balloon here, then here, here, and then the last one is cut off. That's where planning is extremely important. Now that you know that, here's an idea. Lay out your wallpaper or your mural. You may be doing this with a mural. Lay it out on the floor. Take a look. Simulate the installation logistically. Simulate the left side and the right side. This is where my wallpaper will fall in between this space, and then it'll be easy. Put it on the floor. Clear stuff out. Don't walk on your wallpaper. Walk around it and lay it out and see where it lays out, and then it'll make perfect sense. Okay, I'll see you on the next one. So I laid out my wallpaper on the floor in this room. I rolled it up because I didn't want it getting messy. And just to check my mathematics, if each of my rolls is 20.5, which means 20 and a half, right? And so if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if I have 6 times 20.5, I should come up with 123, right? Not only that, I've labeled the top of each one. Top 6, top 5, 4, etc. Okay, I measured my wall with the tape measure. I measured up here, not down near the baseboard. And I came up with the measurement of 118 inches. And that's why my central point is 59 inches. It's 59 inches because that's the center of 118 inches in length. So like I said in the beginning when I was planning it out, I'm going to start on the left side because I don't want a 2.5 to 3 inch piece on the left and a 2.5 to 3 inch piece on the right. I don't want that. Now, this is a subtle pattern, you'll see. But if I had some big pieces, I would just simply, with such a little amount of wallpaper on each side, because small slivers of wallpaper are difficult to work with because corners are never straight, I would forego the issue with regard to symmetry unless it were a significant impact on the overall beauty of the installation. And I would determine that by laying out the mural, opening it up, not like I have it there, but completely opening it up and just simply making imaginary lines where I would cut it off and say, how would this look? I would put my tape measure on the floor against the mural and I would say, how would this look? And I would lay it all the way out at 118 inches and I would say, if I cut this off, how would it look? And that's how I would determine it. You can't always see with the wallpaper rolled up how it's going to look when you actually install it. So if you cut off 3 inches here but don't cut off the 3 inches on the end, would it significantly affect the appearance? If not, then I would rather deal with a larger piece than 2.5 to 3 inches on each side than trying to install such a small sheet of wallpaper. Especially if the ends were smaller than 3 inches, say 1.5. You don't want to be dealing with 1.5 inches on this side or on the right side. So you want to deal with the bigger pieces. Okay, so let's get started.
3.
Okay, so this is sheet number 3. Here's my central point. I'm putting 3 here, I'm starting 4 here. And just so you see how it works out, 3, 4, 5. It'll give me this much left over. And that's how we're going to do it. The rest is easy. I'll see you on the next frame. I'm using a clear wallpaper paste. You have to go by the instructions in your wallpaper. Now I can tell you that most wallpaper is going to tell you to use a heavy-duty clear wallpaper paste. But make sure that your wallpaper calls for paste. If it's pre-pasted, if you use paste, you void the warranty. If it's peel and stick, they don't want you using paste. It may require clay-based paste. Please read your instructions. This is not always the proper paste, but I would say 90% of the time it is. And this is a unique installation because this, unlike most wallpapers, says to paste the wall first. So that's why I'm pasting the wall. Okay? Most of them say paste the product. I highly recommend Dynamite 234. Shop around, get it delivered to your house before you start your project. They don't have it at your local hardware store. This is called a ladder, an A-frame ladder. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, use a little drop cloth or paper to collect the splatter of paste that may result from you applying it with a roller. I'm going to be using a smoother or what's called a paint etcher. I bought this in the continental United States at Harbor Freight. It's $2. When my videos go viral and I become a big star, they're going to go up to $6. So buy a bunch of them now for $2. And I use that and a thicker smoother. This is thicker. This is sharp. It could tear your wallpaper, but you have to proceed accordingly. Go easy. Okay, let's install it. We're going to be using a level to make sure that the first sheet is plumb. This is level. This is called plumb, not the fruit. Okay. How are you doing? I'm doing pretty fine there. Oh, the air conditioner feels good. Let's get our level out. And our level, you see that little bubble in there? You see this? Oh, where is it? See that bubble that moves? When you have the bubble in between the black lines, you're straight, you're good. Try not to put your level on the paste. Keep it on the wallpaper. It's a little trick I learned after wasting a lot of time cleaning off my level. Nice. Very nice. After I determine its level, don't cut the bottoms and the tops yet. You may find out that you need to move your sheet up or down. Don't cut them yet, okay? Little helpful tip. Okay. All right. Now let me bring you up close. So our wallpaper is straight here. It's plumb. Okay, we use the level. Nice and easy. Look at the angle I'm using. See that if I do this, I'm gonna cut into that. Okay? What am I doing? I'm just pushing the air out. Here's the rule. See this? In a sweeping Christmas tree-like fashion. Down the middle, out. Start in the middle, out. Start in the middle, out. That's it. See how I'm keeping the excess on the bottom? Don't cut this. You may say, oh man, I ran out of paper, I cut it already. Don't do that. If you're new at this, just remember there's always mistakes you can make, so don't trim it yet. Okay, always have a nice sponge on hand. Don't get a cheap sponge. Go to Sherwin-Williams or your local paint store, whatever country you're in. Get a good sponge, okay? Here's why. Sponges draw whatever on this material you're cleaning and draws it toward the middle. And so a little sponge that fits in your hand will give you what 5 rags can do, 5 cleaning rags, because it draws it all to the center. So the thicker the sponge, the more time you have to clean without dipping it into water again. So a little word to the wise, use a sponge. Now, I'm using my thicker smoother because I don't want to tear my wallpaper. I'm pushing all my air pockets out. Watch, see that air? See that travel? Wow, push it out. Nice and easy. Look at this air, watch. See that air I'm pushing out? That's it. That's what you want to do, folks. You want a nice installation? Push it out. And now, let's talk about logistics. The customer ceiling is crooked. Let me prove it. Now, if my wallpaper edge is plumb, because of the level that we use, you see how this line dives into the ceiling? So there's nothing you can do about that. Okay? Just so you know. Now, all I'm doing is getting the paste bubbles out. I'm rubbing my wallpaper down. It's clean. I'm not bringing paste from the side onto the thing. I'm staying on the wall cover. That's all. Okay. There you go. Look at how nice. Now the next sheet is going up right up against it, right? Now here's the trick. If you're new, paint your wall this color before you do this. After you skim coat it, paint it dark, charcoal gray or black, whatever you want to do, and then hang this paper. It's just a word to the wise, because if you should be 99% excellent and you miss by 1% and you have a hairline fracture, you're going to be looking at a white gap. In which case you would need watercolor pencils. You get them on Amazon. Fill in your colors when it's dry. Don't do it when it's wet. Okay, let's continue. So far, so good. You want another trick? Get a flashlight. Get a flashlight. Shine it against the wallpaper to make sure you got all your air pockets out. A flashlight reveals all your mistakes. Okay? But you know why I'm not doing it here? So you can't see my mistakes. Okay, I put my second sheet up against it, off video, and I try to find my pattern match. After I did that, okay, you want to be precise here, folks. That's not precise. Gotta pull that down a hair. Ugh. Okay, now look, see the white? You want to push that over, obviously, right? And you don't want it coming apart again. So I want to show you what to do. You want to finesse it. I'm using my hand, right? Going back and forth. Look at the color coming off. This is what, these wallpapers do these days. Okay? You don't want that paste drying on here. Just clean it off. Okay? So, you want to finesse this with your hand. You don't want to do it with a tool. You go back and forth over this, you're going to mar the surface. You'll scuff it. Customer will see it after they wake up the next day, and they won't like you anymore. Or your wife won't like you. Maybe she doesn't like you already. That's okay though. That's okay. Now, see that? Diagonally from the center. You can go down or up, doesn't matter, but you want to go diagonally. Why is that? Because I said so. No, just kidding. It's the least path. You start in the center. You don't want to drag hair from one end all the way to the other. Start in the center, push this hair out over here, simple, right? Okay, we got a belly in the wall. You see how this is pursing like somebody puts their lips together and presses hard? Why is that happening? Because there is a belly in the wall. I can feel it. You can. Here it's coming out toward me, and here it goes in, again, away from you. But where wallpaper installers, here's what we do. We finesse it. This is what I call finessing. See the white space there? I just put it together. You pull it away a little. Believe me, it all works out. Okay. And so now here's the thing for new people. Here's a trick. Get yourself a water bottle. I don't have one here, but you want to open this up and spray it with water. Here, why? Why is that? Here's why. Watch this. I'm going to pull it together. Watch what happens. Watch what happens. Watch this. See it come apart again? Push it together. La, la, la. See it separating? What water does, it wakens up the paste and says, hey, stop drying up on the installers. Don't do that. Watch, look. See that? And so this could drive a new person crazy. You don't want to be going crazy, right? So what the water does, it wakes the paste up and says, don't dry, stop being stiff. We need you to be sticky again. And the wallpaper gets sticky. And then you're able to slide it more easily into place. And then this is what locks it down. Check this out, watch this. Wow, now you pushed it down. Now you can slide it over more easily and commit it into place. Now we have a belly in the wall. And so we're making up. Now picture a heavy guy and a skinny guy wearing the same shirt. Did anybody watch Sesame Street when they were a kid? You know the shirts that Bert and Ernie wore? They had horizontal stripes, right? Just picture a fat guy wearing rings on the shirts, like literally horizontal rings. And a skinny guy. The fat guy, the rings are going to be distorted, right? Why is that? Well, he's got more gut to cover. The skinny guy, it's going to drape on his frame very nicely. Well, when you have a belly in the wall, it consumes more wallpaper. And if the belly is here, down here is going to be off. You got to finesse it, push it into place. What you're really doing is stretching it. So you want to use water for that. Water allows you to stretch it more easily to accommodate the displacement of material caused by bellies in the wall. In the trade, it's called a pregnant wall. I don't like the phrase myself. I certainly did not coin it, and I hope that you don't use it. I don't know how a wall gets pregnant, but I don't know how you father a nation either. So we'll leave that to the scholars, okay? Okay, very good. La-dee-dee-dee-dee. Okay, the one in. Okay, now that relieves the tension placed on the wallpaper above and below the socket, as they say in the UK. I like that, the socket. I don't like that phrase. We call this an outlet in the States, not a socket. But when you're in Rome, you got to do what the Romans do, right? Okay, so what do you think? Hold on. You see, let me show you the fault so you don't think I'm perfect. The fat wall has caused, look, I want to show you. I want to show you something. Okay, now we meet up perfectly here. See that? We're meeting up. We meet up perfectly. After the belly, look what happens. Look, see this? We're off there. You see this line and it doesn't, we're off by, I'd say, 1/16 of an inch. So here's what you're gonna do. I'm gonna put this down. Here's what we're gonna do. 2 hands, we're gonna do a little CPR on the wallpaper. Watch this. So we take 2 hands and we slide it down. We push in toward the wall, pull down. If you do it with fingers, you tear the wallpaper. So you want to do it with your palm. It doesn't wreck the paper for some reason. And what I'm doing is I'm incrementally moving the wallpaper to knock it into place, okay? So I put 2 hands, one over the other, and it allows me to put such a great amount of force on it, just pulling it into place. Okay. Remember, I didn't cut either the bottom or the top. You're a new guy, don't cut them. You may have to pull the sheet off. And that's why I don't want you to cut them. So I want to be an example to you. Don't cut the bottom or the top until your installation is done. Okay? You don't want to find out. I know a wallpaper guy to whom that happened. I'm not going to mention Spencer Colgan by name, but he was a great installer. Don't get me wrong. So he installs the whole thing. Very cocky guy. Cuts the top, cuts the bottom, gets to the last sheet, sees that he's off an inch. Then he realizes he's cut everything. Let's just say he had to buy some wallpaper after that. Okay. Now remember, each of our sheets is numbered. We're going to go up with number 5. Okay, let's get it up. Okay. Now, with sheet number 5, it's perfectly meeting up in the middle. it was giving me a hard time because of the belly in the wall. This is what you do. You whack it downward and you force these lines to meet up. Now, if you've done your job over here with this panel and you've knocked it down 1/8 of an inch and you're still off a 1/16, here's what you do. You go on the other side of the seam, you go to the other panel and you do this. You go up. So this way you bring both of those edges into harmony. Okay? I'm gonna cut it, it's hanging over. I pre-trimmed my pieces on the floor. I need to get this excess hanging off of it, okay? So I'm using a cartridge blade. This is a 9mm blade, 9mm. And they're very sharp, they're black. You can get them on Amazon, that's where I get them. And I get packs of 50. Been getting a lot of questions on how to cut wallpaper. And so I want to show you how to do it. Okay, so I'm going to simulate the cut that I just did, but only over here, okay? So you take your smoother, you push it into that corner, you protect the good side of your wallpaper. So we would want the wall to be covered. In the case of the wall going up near the ceiling, you protect your wall and you put your blade and slide it across this side, not this side of the smoother. And that's what I'll do here. Let me just show you. So when I get my two hands back, I would hold my smoother, protecting the good side of the wallpaper, put my blade right up against there and cut down. You want to use two hands. One hand holds the smoother, the other one drags the blade right up. Sharp blade. Use a new blade every cut. Okay, and if your wall is long, stop and halfway, snap the blade off, use a new blade. And you're gonna go right down there and keep it sharp up against the white plastic and keep your white plastic in that corner. Don't start veering off like this. You'll start cutting the wrong place and you'll have a mess on your hands, okay? Don't do it with one hand like that, but that's pretty much how we're gonna do it if we use both our hands, okay? And you'll get a nice splice. You see the white mark I made? I scored it at least. Okay, so that's how you do that. And that's how I cut my wallpaper up there. Let's get the last sheet up. Okay, cutting the wallpaper. I figured let me show you. You may not know what I'm talking about. Sharp blade, put it up against the smoother. Just go in 4-inch spurts. If you don't, and your blade is dull, you'll drag a nasty tear through your wallpaper. Short spurts, it cuts better. Okay, and you get a nice even cut like that. Let's do it again over here. Push my wallpaper down, put it up against there. Your blade. Okay. Nice even cut, right? Okay, let's put our wallpaper back together. Should begin to separate. I'm holding it 10 inches away, smoothing it out at the seam. Don't let your wallpaper slide away from you. You're in charge. Don't let the wallpaper tell you what it's going to do. All right, we're gonna wipe it down and continue. Okay, so now I wanted to show you, I got my long-term friend here from way back when we used to work with each other. So he's helping me out. We're gonna have dinner after this. So, let me show you how to do the cut now that I got my two hands, okay? Now, this is not the best wallpaper, but it's good because it shows you, the new person, to be careful. I put my finger right through this stuff. Okay, this is what I meant. This goes against the wall. Okay? Now with cheap wallpaper, do the shortcuts. Do the spurts, 4-inch spurts. The reason being is that you bring the blade close to the material rather than like this. When you do this, you're using more of the blade, less chance to tear your wallpaper. because less chance to erode the blade so quickly. So when you tilt it more, you're using more blade, less erosion on the blade. Okay. Now we put it against here. Penetrate it first. Don't start cutting. Penetrate. You'll feel it or hear it. I just heard it. Then pull down. Now lift your thing off of the wall because you're going to make lines from the paste that's underneath it. I don't have it on the wall here. You see what I mean? So if I drag it on the wall, I'm going to be floating the paste underneath it. It's going to make a line. It's going to look stupid. Smooth it out. Pull this off. Okay. Push it in place. Okay. We're almost there. It's hot in here. It's actually very humid. Right up against there. Put your blade in there. Once you know where you are, lift this off of the wall. Now I should change my blade. I should practice what I preach. I'm taking a chance here. I better practice blade. Okay. All right, now, same thing. Now when I get to the bottom, John, can you just come in close? Here's what I'm gonna do. When you get to the bottom, don't try to go all the way with your hand all the way to the bottom. Put it against there, go to the floor and go up. Okay, we're almost done. Now, I'll see you on the next frame. Just hit the red button on our camera. Okay, now the last thing we gotta do is clean our wallpaper down. Don't underestimate the importance of cleaning your wallpaper down. You're gonna use two hands. One, you're gonna smooth it out, pressing the last remaining air pockets out, and wiping with a clean sponge. Let's go. Notice the angle I'm using to do my last smooth out on my seams. I'm using a 5-degree angle, pulling it hard, tight. Okay? Wipe it down, don't get lazy. If you leave paste on it, it'll be 3 times the amount of work tomorrow. Wet the seam, pull on it. Push and pull tight. Okay. Now, if you got a cluster of paste, you were a little sloppy with your installation, don't try to float the paste. You'll mess it up, leave it. If you went too thick in one area and it looks okay, you're new at this, I'm talking to the newbie, leave it. Once you start trying to float it, you have smear marks and they're very visible. So either replace the sheet or leave it alone. Okay, almost there. Now this wall covering is actually giving up some of the color as you saw before on my hands, but not too bad. Not too bad. Even very expensive wallpaper gives up the color sometimes. Okay, I hear air. Just want to show you about the air so that you can hear. I'm going to close the door. So, let's listen to the wallpaper. Aside from looking at it, you can hear air. You don't always have to see bubbles. Just bring them close, John. Do they hear this? I can hear it, and you can hear it too. So, we take a nice wide smoother, pull down, push it out to the edge, nice and easy. I can see it moving. You can't see it on video, but I just pushed it out. It was a big air pocket. Paste bubbles come out. Those are the little ones, smaller than the tip of your thumb. Leave them alone. They come out. They're paste bubbles. As the air leaves your wet paste, so too does the air
leave the liquid as it evaporates. As it evaporates, it gets stuck under the paper for a couple of hours. It disappears. I'm listening for air as I wipe it, and I don't hear any. Okay, now show them the wallpaper, please, and I'll just comment. If they have any questions, let's leave them at the bottom. And tell me what you think. If you like the video, click on like, subscribe to my channel. So there you have it, folks. Veteran, newbie, intermediate level. You can do this. I don't care if you never picked up wallpaper in your life, if you never picked up a SkimCoat tool. This is your game. You can do this. So it took me one day. It might take you 3 days, but you'll get the same results if you follow the instructions in the video. Good luck with all of your endeavors. Give me a question if you need to. I'll try to answer it immediately. Thank you for watching.